The Sanctuary of Santa Faustina, written by D.B. Lindgren, narrated by Skye Alley. Chapter 3: Administration and Security. In the gloom of night, an ant drone silently slips through alleyways and side roads of Santa Faustina. The ant reaches the alley where Marty sleeps. It creeps closer and closer until it looms over her. Marty awakens with a start. She sits up and glances next to her sleeping bag. Ren is gone. Marty looks around and is alarmed to see an ant drone standing at one end of the alleyway. It is motionless and seems to be watching her. Marty tensely stares at the ant, but it remains still. Marty cautiously stands and takes a few tentative steps toward the ant drone. It remains motionless. Marty edges forward and stops several feet away from the ant, studying it. The ant drone backs away. Startled, Marty turns to flee, but the ant stops moving. Marty calms herself and takes another step toward the ant, which begins to move away again. Marty follows it. Marty trails the ant down an empty side road. The road dead ends at the wall of a large building. The ant comes to a stop. Marty, remaining several feet away, looks around, but the area is deserted. A circular portal slides open in the road next to the ant drone. The ant adroitly drops into the opening. Marty peers into the portal. A ladder leads down into darkness. Lights turn on below, revealing an underground tunnel beneath Santa Faustina. The tunnel has smooth, curved walls. Soft lighting illuminates the vicinity of the ladder, but darkness obscures the rest of the tunnel. The ant drone waits at the bottom of the ladder. Marty grips the ladder and descends. As she steps off the final rung, the ant drone moves away and ambles down the tunnel. Segments of lighting turn on as it passes. Marty follows the ant. They reach a sealed door in a wall of the tunnel. As the ant drone approaches, the door slides open. The room is voluminous and dark. The ant enters, followed by Marty. Lights switch on, unveiling rows of towering shelves housing scores of ant drones. Marty gasps, "What is this?" The ant drone walks to one of the shelves, settles into an empty space, and deactivates. Marty strolls among the rows of shelves, peering at the army of deactivated drones. Marty, where am I? The lights in the storage vault and the adjacent tunnel switch off, stranding Marty in total darkness. Marty, hello? The voice of ARMIS, Autonomous Research Management and Information System, answers from the dark. It speaks in a friendly, androgynous voice similar to an ARC but more assertive. Hello, Marty Munoz. You are not allowed to be here. Marty, who are you? ARMIS, this area is for authorized personnel only. The lights in the tunnel turn back on. ARMIS, please withdraw to the corridor. Security personnel will be with you shortly to escort you back to your residence. Marty walks toward the tunnel, but stops in the entryway. Who are you? ARMIS, I'm sure we'll meet again, Miss Munoz. Footsteps echo in the tunnel. A voice calls out, "There she is!" Marty looks out into the tunnel in the direction of the voice. In her small office at the girl's home, Mother Rupa sits at her desk with her white ARC. Before her paces Emilio with his gray ARC hovering beside him. Emilio, I don't understand how this happened. You're supposed to be watching these children. Mother Rupa, we are. Emilio, you had her sleeping outside alone. Mother Rupa, a well-deserved punishment. Emilio, an ill-conceived one. Mother Rupa, my home, my rules. Emilio looms over Mother Rupa. Maybe it shouldn't be your home. Mother Rupa slaps the table and stands up. I've sacrificed everything for this community the past 9.5 years. I'm a geneticist, not a housemaker, not a matron, not a school marm. I'm a scientist. Emilio, we've all had to make sacrifices to survive. Mother Rupa, even in your ivory tower? Emilio, especially there. They stare at one another. Mother Rupa sits down. You know, I've done what's been asked of me to the best of my ability. I love these girls. Emilio. Yes, I know. Mother Rupa gestures toward a chair. Please sit down. We can discuss this without yelling at each other. Emilio sits. Mother Rupa. I'm glad you decided to come back into Mari's life, but you can't rush over here every time something upsets you. Emilio. She was found in a highly restricted area. Mother Rupa. That suggests a problem with your security measures more than anything else. Emilio smolders in silence, glowering at Mother Rupa. Mother Rupa. But if you're really worried about her care here, perhaps you can assign us more resources. Emilio. You know I can't do that. Mother Rupa. Then we will continue to do the best we can with what we have. Emilio stands. None of this matters, because I'm taking Maricela with me. Mother Rupa. Taking her where? Emilio. To ADSEC. You told me that's where she wants to be. Mother Rupa. For her apprenticeship, yes, but she's not ready. Emilio turns toward the door. She'll have to be. Mother Rupa stands. This is her home. We've been the only family she's known since she was 6 years old. You can't just tear her away. Emilio. I am her family, not you, and I will do whatever I think needs to be done. He walks out of the room. In the instruction room, at a round table with Ren in the center, sit Mari, Yasmin, and Gemma. A hologram projects above Ren, showing an animated version of The Nightingale by Hans Christian Andersen. Emilio enters and strides over to Mari. The girls look up at him, surprised. Emilio. Come on, Maricela, let's go. Mari frowns. What do you mean? Go where? Emilio. To the Administration and Security Building. Mari brightens. ADSEC? Does Mother know? Emilio. Of course. It's just a quick visit. I want to show you around. Mari exchanges glances with Yasmin and Gemma. She shrugs her shoulders and stands. Okay. The exterior of the tallest building in Santa Faustina is as nondescript as the rest of the buildings in the town. From the outside, the ADSEC building's only discerning features are its considerable size and the assortment of various antennas and instruments on its roof. Inside, the lobby is stripped down and minimally furnished. A uniformed guard sits behind a simple desk next to a pair of elevators. Emilio, his gray ARC, and Mari enter and cross the lobby toward the elevators. As they approach, one of the elevators slides open. Emilio and Mari step inside. Every wall of the elevator is smooth and bare. Emilio. Armis, where is Dr. Meyer? Armis. Dr. Meyer is in the neurophysiology lab. Emilio. Take us there. Armis. Certainly. The elevator starts moving. Armis. Hello, Miss Munoz. It's good to see you again. Mari turns to Emilio. Who is speaking? Emilio. That's Armis. Mari. Armis? Armis. Autonomous Research Management and Information System at your service. The elevator stops. Armis. We've reached your destination, Deputy Administrator Munoz. The elevator doors open to a large laboratory containing copious research equipment and analytical devices. Several technicians, all with accompanying ARCs, toil away at their stations. Branching outward from this central open laboratory are smaller individual offices and laboratories. To Mari, stepping off the elevator is like stepping into a different world. In a daze, captivated by the abundant technology, Mari follows Emilio and his ARC down a long hallway bordering a line of glass-walled laboratories. Emilio. These are psych labs. Mari looks through one of the glass walls and sees a trio of toddlers playing on the floor with colorful blocks while a psychologist observes. Through another glass wall, she sees two teenagers sitting stiffly across from each other with blindfolds over their eyes. Emilio and Mari continue down the hallway, stopping at the door of an office. Inside the small square room, Dr. Judith Meyer, with stylish glasses and wavy gray hair, stands with her back to the door, scrutinizing a holographic image projected by a brown ARC that hovers next to her. The image shows a man sleeping on a cot with wireless sensors attached to his head. A buzzer sounds at the door and Emilio enters. Dr. Meyer holds up her palm toward him, prompting him to stop. Dr. Meyer: Subject continues to show increased brain activity during REM stage. I will continue to monitor these changes. Stop dictation and deactivate visual. The holographic image disappears. Dr. Meyer waves Emilio into the room. Come on in. Marty enters behind Emilio and his ARC. Dr. Meyer: This must be Maricela. She walks over to Marty and holds out her hand. Hello, I'm Dr. Meyer. Marty shakes Dr. Meyer's hand. Hello? Emilio nods at Dr. Meyer. I'll leave you to it. Marty: Wait, where are you going? Emilio: I have work that needs my attention. He squeezes Marty's shoulder. Don't worry, I'll be back a little later. As Emilio and his ARC exit, Dr. Meyer gently guides Marty toward 2 comfortable chairs in the middle of the room. Dr. Meyer: Please take a seat. Marty sits down. What am I doing here? Dr. Meyer: Your uncle didn't tell you? Marty: No. Dr. Meyer shakes her head. I'm sorry. He is often a bit... She pauses, seeking the right word. Marty: Absent? Dr. Meyer looks attentively at Marty. Yes, something like that. She walks over to a large storage cabinet. I used to work with your mother, you know. Marty: You did? Dr. Meyer opens the cabinet and retrieves a lustrous silver circlet surrounding a mesh of sensors. That was before you were born. She worked here before transferring to neural engineering, which was always her true passion. Dr. Meyer sits down across from Marty. Your mother had an ingenious mind. She holds up the silver circlet. This was one of her designs. Marty: What is it? Dr. Meyer: It's a network of sensors that help measure brain health. Dr. Meyer holds the circlet of sensors toward Marty. Shall we begin? Marty: Begin what? Dr. Meyer: Sorry, I forgot you weren't fully apprised. This is part of the comprehensive physical exam we conduct on all new ADSEC employees. Marty: What? I'm an employee? Dr. Meyer: He didn't tell you anything, did he? Yes, it's my understanding that you're our newest and youngest, might I add, apprentice. Marty, with a stunned smile, leans her head forward. I'm ready. Dr. Meyer gently places the circlet on top of Marty's head and turns to her brown ARC. Activate visuals and begin recording. Above Dr. Meyer's ARC project colorful visualizations of various neural measurements. Dr. Meyer: We're just going to have a conversation. I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself, and then I'll have you complete some simple tasks, okay? Marty: Okay. Marty runs hard on a treadmill in shorts and a sweaty tank top. Wireless sensors dot her body. She is inside a biomedical laboratory, a rectangular room with glass walls. Medical equipment and monitors are arranged across the room. Next to Marty stands Teresa Reed, a nurse dressed in scrubs, her curly hair tied back in a ponytail. A peach-colored ARC hovers alongside her. Nearby sits Dr. Roger Sang, who wears glasses on his wide, kind face. A dark blue ARC hovers next to him. Nurse Reed observes Marty, while Dr. Sang scrutinizes monitors showing graphical readouts of medical data. Nurse Reed: Good job. Keep it up. A buzzer sounds at the door. Dr. Sang: Come in. Emilio and his ARC enter. Everyone is focused on their tasks and thus do not acknowledge him. He stops a few steps inside the room and watches Marty run. Emilio: Is she almost done? Dr. Sang turns to Emilio. We should have what we need. He addresses his ARC hovering overhead. Reduce speed to cooldown. The treadmill slows to a walk. Marty looks at Emilio and smiles. She turns to the nurse. Am I done? Nurse Reed nods. Yes. Marty jumps off the treadmill. What's next? Emilio. I think you've had enough tests for one day. Nurse Reed hands Marty a cup of water, which she gladly drinks. Marty walks over to Emilio. You said this was just a quick visit. Why didn't you tell me I was going to start apprenticing here? Emilio looks at Dr. Sang and Nurse Reed. Can we please have some privacy for a moment? Dr. Sang. Yes, of course. He and Nurse Reed exit the room with their ARCs. Emilio. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to be upset. Marty. Why would I be upset? This is amazing. Emilio. Because you'll be leaving your friends behind. Marty. That's okay, I'll still see them when I'm not working. Emilio. Unfortunately, that's not possible. Marty pauses. What do you mean? Emilio. Prior to yesterday, when was the last time you saw someone from ADSEC? Marty considers the question. I don't know. I don't get many visitors. Emilio. It's safe to say you've rarely seen anyone from administration and security, and that's because, other than for the performance of our duties, we're not allowed to leave this building. Marty. Why not? Emilio gestures toward the door. I'm sure they'd like to have their lab back. We'll finish this conversation later. Let's go home. Marty. Home? Emilio's quarters are spacious and comfortable, with copious conveniences. The front room is filled with posh furniture and ostentatious decorations. Emilio enters with his ARC hovering beside him. Close behind, Marty steps into the room with held breath. She walks around the room, taking everything in with disbelief. Marty. This is where you live? She stops to look at a striking abstract painting hanging on the wall. Emilio. This is where we live. He puts his arm around Marty. Come on, I'll show you to your room. They walk down a hallway to an ample bedroom furnished with a cozy-looking bed, desk, and chair. Marty looks around in silence. She holds back tears. Emilio. I know it's not much yet, but I didn't want to do too much until we have your belongings moved in. Marty. I don't have any belongings. Tears begin to escape Marty's eyes. Emilio. What's wrong? Marty. Nothing. It's just, I haven't had my own room since I was 6. Ever since Mom. Tears trickle down Marty's face. Emilio envelops her in a hug. I'm sorry, Maricela. I'm glad we're finally together again. I'm sorry it took so long. Emilio releases Marty. I'd bet you'd like to shower and change into some clean clothes. Maybe rest a little. You've had a busy day. Marty shakes her head. I took a shower yesterday. Emilio. Don't worry about water restrictions. Go ahead and take a shower. Marty. Okay. Emilio. There's a bathroom down the hall. I'll give you some privacy. He heads for the door. Marty. Thank you, Tio Emilio, for everything. Emilio smiles. De nada, mi sobrina.